A wise man once said, "Mo money, mo problems." Of course, that was our beloved WWE superstar, Big E. Actually, correction, different Big E. That was actually the notorious Biggie Smalls. You get the point. Mo money, mo problems. Makes sense. Pretty legit. More responsibility, more accountability. The more money you get, the more headaches. However, it's not just BC. I'm pretty sure I speak for most of you guys who understand by now in life that the only thing worse than mo money, more problems is having no money, which leads to way more problems, right? Putting food on the table, paying rent, taking your old lady to that restaurant that just opened up across town, or you're never going to hear the end of it. My dudes know what I'm talking about. Or, in the case of Tony Khan, next Wednesday in Los Angeles for AEW Dynamite, if Tony Khan produces no money, he will have lots of problems. So what is BC talking about? Of course, we are talking about Mercedes Vernando, the artist formerly known as Sasha Banks, now going by Mercedes Moné. And for weeks, Saraya, the artist formerly known as Paige, she's been teasing this mystery tag team partner for January 11th's Dynamite against Britt Baker and current AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter. Now, the more and more that this picked up steam, the more and more people thought it's got to be Sasha Banks. It has to be Mercedes, right? And Paige never did anything to kind of sidetrack that. Tony Khan played to the buzz, which is what a good businessman would do to a point, right? If people are going to create their own buzz, let them do that. It's only going to help your show. But then it started getting to the point where no reputable source could actually say that she is doing anything with AEW coming up. And it started to lead people to believe, well, what if Tony Khan cannot land Mercedes Moné? And you have an entire crowd, I'm pretty sure the majority of the AEW fan base by now, whether they like it or not, I'm pretty sure they understand that that's what everyone is expecting now. The partner of Saraya to be Mercedes. I mean, Tony Khan is in one hell of a dilemma here. If he's got Mercedes already and she's waiting in the wings, then that's going to be one hell of a moment for Tony Khan, and he's set. But if what we're hearing is true and he has not landed Mercedes, then you're going to have a pissed off crowd. There's no way around it. I mean, you played up this buzz. You teased. And you teased as if you're going to get Mercedes because that's what everybody was talking about and you played into it. And that's fine. But the closer you get, you got to be careful the moves you make because you're going to have an audience that shows up expecting Mercedes now. And it can go one of two ways. I mean, in hour one of Dynamite last night, you literally had Tony Khan have Britt Baker go out there and say the words, or maybe Britt Baker just said it on her own. She said, "I'm the boss," in a sit-down interview with Renee Paquette. Another tease. But then an hour later, when Paige, Saraya, was in an interview with Paquette, and she was sitting side by side, Sheeta on her left, Toni Storm on her right, and Saraya announced her mystery tag partner. It is going to be Toni Storm. Sheeta did not look pleased at all. So this leads people to believe that Sheeta will be turning on Toni Storm somehow before the tag match next week. And this will leave the door open for somebody to actually be a surprise tag partner. Guys, this could be Tony's way to tell you it's going to be Thunder Rosa, or maybe even a Chris Statlander for all we know. And this was Tony Khan's way to jump off the boat before the boat sinks. And what does BC mean? Well, simple. By telling you it's going to be Toni Storm, you can't really have your expectations so high that you still think it's going to be Mercedes. But by the time Sheeta takes out Toni Storm and you get Thunder Rosa, you're still at least surprised. We knew it wasn't going to be Mercedes. We thought it would be Toni. We got Thunder. Pretty cool. Or Statlander came back. Pretty cool. Or whatever. The point is, this is not going to work because fans are already calling bullshit on the whole Toni Storm being the tag partner. People are saying, no, it's gotta be Mercedes. It's literally Moné or bust for AEW fans. Again, even if they like Sasha or not, or like this decision that that's the tag partner, or even want to see Mercedes in AEW, they still know that this is a Mercedes or bust situation. Because they've teased it for so long, they played along with the buzz for so long, and Tony Khan's got to be careful. If you get too close to that stove, don't be shocked if you get burnt by that same stove. You played that shit for so long, and now here we are just days away. The next Dynamite, you got to produce Moné. And the problem with that is I just don't think he can do that. There's still some type of relationship with World Wrestling Entertainment as of this morning, and it is very early on a Thursday morning. Sun hasn't even come up yet. And still, Sasha Banks is listed on the main roster public legal page for World Wrestling Entertainment. They're under some type of deal still where 3H's VKM are allowing her to go over to Japan and do what she needs to do to fulfill her dreams and destiny. I don't think 3H's is going to let her go to AEW and sustain any type of relationship with WWE. They could have easily froze her contract and made sure she doesn't go to AEW. I just don't see how that's going to happen. Not saying it can't. It's pro wrestling. You never say never. But anybody that thinks that Mercedes is a lock-in for Dynamite, not so fast. There's so much mystery just revolving this whole situation, surrounding it, that Tony Khan might just be in one of the biggest Dynamite dilemmas of his young career. At least in pro wrestling anyway. It's very interesting to see what happens next, because what happens next will be massive for the trajectory of AEW in 2023. Especially for the women's division. You pumped up for weeks this big mystery partner. It can't just be Thunder Rosa, can it be? Can't just be like a Statlander. Can't even be my girl Athena. It definitely can't be Toni Storm. Or even Sheeta if she wants to take out Storm. Whoever that leaves the door open for. Tony Khan might have just backed himself into a corner, got himself into a pickle that he just can't battle out of. Anyway, we'll discuss more coming up because we're going to go over Dynamite from last night, top to bottom, basically every segment, every match, for the most part anyway. We'll see if Dynamite was a good show or not. We'll find out if it, not if you liked it or not. That's in the eye of the beholder. I'm sure a lot of you guys, especially AEW fans, they can do no wrong. You pretty much love every fucking show, and I guess that's what makes you a fan. But that's what BC's here for, man. An actual critic in pro wrestling. While everybody else watches pro wrestling, BC is here doing the job for you guys. I'm studying pro wrestling. And BC is going to go over this card and see if this was a good show or not. And we'll be doing that in just a couple minutes. A couple things I want to do first and foremost after I get another swig of my adult morning beverage. 1 second, please. And there's a couple of big thanks and shout-outs that BC needs to give out before we get into Dynamite 1/4/23. First and foremost, have to thank all of my Gold Card members, man. All of my members, man. Yesterday, we rocked out a members-only live stream, and we absolutely crushed it. I thought it would be about a half an hour in length. It ended up being well over 2 hours. I think it was like 2:10 or some shit, but it was fucking... My unit came... My members, this was a members only, and the chat was blazing as if it was the entire unit, man. Like it was the entire red team go, not just gold team. It was incredible, man. It was... just one of those streams, you know, you have those once in a while, and this was a members only, and we just, so much fun. You guys kept BC rolling. You guys were blazing the whole time. BC was fucking ranting and raving, all caffeined up. It was just an electric fucking atmosphere, a great fucking stream, and you guys made that so special. So I appreciate that so much. And to my entire unit, even if you were not a gold card member and couldn't participate in the chat, a lot of you guys still threw out the fucking super chats, tipping the channel. A lot of you guys smashing that up for BC, showing that love and support. It's things like that, man. Whether you were a gold card member or not, you still made that stream yesterday so phenomenal, man, and so electric. So BC had to take a moment and say, damn, that was cool. And that's what just makes the Amplified unit the best unit in the community of professional wrestling, man. I mean, this unit, these streams, the chat that you guys are in, man, and just every time I look over, and it's just we're blazing through this community, and there's no other community, there's no other unit, there's no other base in this community that can even fucking touch us. I mean, we're on a level of our own, guys. And if you're tough enough to hang, strong enough to hang with the unit, more badass enough to hang with the unit, it's going to be one hell of a ride. And a lot of people find out quickly they don't have what it takes to be in the unit, and they gotta, kick rocks, hit the bricks, beat feet, and seat. And I hear you. You gotta take off. Sometimes people need a little extra help, and they get das Boot. But you can either hang or you can't, man. And what we've assembled in this community, we are the ones. Everybody else, they ain't even the twos, bro. I can't even say they the twos. My unit, man. What a members only stream. Fucking phenomenal. Also, that thanks button down below, they call it a super thanks. It's a way to tip the channel. You can tip your favorite content creators. Never needed. Always appreciated, obviously, but never ever needed, man. And it's always so cool when I come across a highlighted comment, which is a thanks. So you guys probably don't know that, but the content creator will see it highlighted up because it's a tip to the channel. So we had some over the last couple of videos that I wasn't able to get to. So I want to give a quick shout out, man. Kevin MD. I saw that shit. One of my tried and trues on the channel. Kevin MD throwing that tip over to the channel. Much love and respect, brother. Justin Jones throwing that tip over to the channel with that thanks. Thank you right back, Justin Jones. And Moto threw over a tip to the channel. Moto, I caught that, man. I caught it a couple days ago, actually, and I was meaning to say big shout out, thanks back to you, Moto. Always good to see you up in here. And Renee G. I didn't forget about Renee G, man, with a 10 spot, a couple of coffees. BC gonna get a vanilla latte and maybe a pistachio latte. Maybe I'll get 3 fucking extra Dunkins. But Renee G, man, showing that love just in the regular comments with that thanks button. I don't know where it is down below. Everyone always says, BC, how can I tip the channel, man? I don't know where it is. It's somewhere, it's called thanks. It's one of the buttons, man. I think might be near the like button. I don't know. But the tube has told me it's somewhere down below near on the thing. It's not needed though, guys, but if you want to tip the channel on a regular video, that's the way to do it. So it's always interesting, man. People see other people doing it and they're like, how do I do it? I got a lot of people yesterday saying, how do I join the channel to become a gold card member? I'm like, I was told there's a join button down below. Some people are saying they don't see the join button. So I don't, maybe the tube doesn't want you to become a member. Too many people are amplified. He doesn't need any more channel members. Oh man, if you can find it, tell the tube to fuck off. Become gold status. So anyway, Moto, Justin Jones, Kevin MD, Renee G. Much love and respect. I appreciate those thanks. Man, I just think it's always cool, be in the line at Starbucks. And obviously, I can't check every fucking comment or everything. Sometimes people go, BC doesn't read his comments. Well, it's not that I don't fucking want to. Sometimes, guys, if it's a fucking big week and you're doing 7 or 8 vids and each one gets 75 to 100 comments, you're looking at what could be on the upswing of 1,000. Imagine getting 1,000 fucking text messages out of nowhere or emails or some shit, right? I mean, you're probably not going to be able to read them all. You probably have a life. You're probably doing something, right? So it's not that I just don't want to read my fucking comments. I appreciate every single one of them, But sometimes you just can't do that. So It's cool when you see a highlighted one, though, because you're like, oh, what the fuck? Somebody just tipped the fucking chair. Who the fuck? Renee G, what the fuck? I'll be in Starbucks fucking. People are like, is this dude talking to himself? No, motherfucker, I'm talking to Renee G, all right? Oh, bro. Anyway, guys, those are my thanks, man. My members, all my super thankers, everybody that just supports the channel, totally free, is just smashing that up. A big thanks to everybody that just takes a moment to smash that up. Bro, that don't cost a fucking dime, and I appreciate that more than anything. Helps the algorithm, tells the tube to fuck off. Speaking of fucking off, man, let's piss some people off, man. We got to critique a wrestling show now. This is where everybody usually cries. If I'm critiquing WWE fans cry. If I critique AEW fans cry. Let's just be a fan of pro wrestling and say what's good and what's not, right? Nobody wants to do that, man. Everybody flies their fucking their flag, their federation's flag, I call it. Back in the day, we used to call it Federation, the World Wrestling Federation. Their company's flag. But BC doesn't do that. And I just, for 5 years plus that I've been creating content, I just piss people off, and I seem to get off on that anyway. I was just a naturally born heel, I think. I just like making people fucking cry. Fuck you, Beasley! I can't stand that Beasley amplified man. BC's like, good, I'm doing my job. Keep crying, bitch. Little bitch boy Bradens. We like to smack them around on the channel. Chris Jericho, Ricky Starks starts out this show 1/4/23, guys. January 4th, 2023, if you're keeping track. Jericho Starks. Nice little 15-minute match. I like when they went to the first picture-in-picture break. This was actually good because Jericho suplexes Starks from the apron to the outside mat, and then we went into our first picture-in-picture. And they just laid there. Like, usually you see a picture-in-picture break, and you just, they do a bunch of fucking moves, or you just do a fucking headlock throughout the commercial. Something stupid. I don't know. They taunt the referee, and the ref pushes the ref, and you're doing some stupid circus act throughout the picture-in-picture. Well, the suplex that Jericho gave Starks from the apron to the outside mat, well, it looked pretty badass. It looked like it really hurt. Here's a crazy concept. Just sell that. Sell it throughout the fucking picture-in-picture. You know what they did last night? Now, I'm not surprised. This is Jericho, a consummate professional. They just sold the fucking suplex throughout most of the picture-in-picture break. They laid there for like the first fucking minute and just thriving in pain. Like they just got suplexed off of the apron onto the outside mat. What a concept. I loved it. I don't need your flips and dives. I don't need you to bounce around the ring like a ping pong ball. I need you to just be a pro wrestler and sell. Sell. You just took a suplex from the fucking apron, man. Anyway, it was beautiful, and something like that, that's what I mean when BC says he studies wrestling. That's the type of shit I'm talking. I dissect it all, man. If you're looking for a real critic actually reviewing the show and not just giving you my opinion and thoughts of how I felt about it, you came to the right place. Whether you can handle this type of truth bombs or not, that's in the eye of the beholder. But this is what makes wrestling better. Selling throughout that whole picture-in-picture. Pretty badass. Now, Starks ends up pinning Jericho off of the spear. Some fans are like, what, Jericho? I don't mind this at all. We're building up Ricky Starks, and that's a beautiful thing. The problem that BC has is, and we've seen this time and time again, every time somebody starts to get momentum in AEW, Tony Khan, it's almost internal sabotage at this point. I used to think he was subconsciously doing it. Now I gotta believe he's doing it on purpose. Internal sabotage. I used to say that about the old bastard in Stamford, Connecticut. But Tony Khan has this fucking, ability, and it's not a good ability, to rip the carpet from underneath the feet of the guy getting the momentum, or dudes in the case of FTR. FTR should have been the biggest tag team in the world of 2022. They were on their way of becoming such. And then Tony Khan, for AEW anyway, just totally misused them, didn't use them, and totally sabotaged them. Wardlow was fucked up 3 separate times in 2022. And you could probably think of a bunch of other people. Ricky Starks is just one of those people that now, as he starts to get momentum, Darby Allin was one of those guys 4 times since the start of AEW, by the way. I can count 4 times where you could have fucking catapulted Darby Allin. And I bring him up because, well, I'll just wait to the end of the show. Wait till you hear how Dynamite ended, man. And you tell me if that makes Wardlow look any fucking better. Or even Samoa Joe, for that matter. But we'll get to the main event soon. But Ricky Starks is that next guy where you're starting to see him catch momentum, lightning in a bottle, we're getting behind him, and you can't fully get behind Tony Khan and not think he's going to find a way to screw this up. He's going to find a way to say, oh, I'm bored with this toy, let's move on. Let's go to something new. I just can't put all my stock into this. And I like Ricky Starks. I like that he's getting this push. I just want to see it come to fruition, man. I want to see it culminate into really big things. And so far, this dude has not given me enough evidence that he can do that. Tony Khan is off the fucking walls, off the rails, bro. When it comes to building stars, he knows how to do it. He's got the formula down. We've seen it many times. He just doesn't follow through. Anyway, he beats Jericho. I'm not disappointed in that at all. This, as I said, this was a nice little 15-minute match, man. It was a good little match. I expect. Well, first, let me just say that post-match, Starks would end up paying for that victory. So it's not like Jericho didn't get any retribution or get any revenge. I mean, immediately JAS beat the shit out of him. Even with the help from Action Andretti, Starks was destroyed by JAS. I think it was Hager fucking smashed him through a fucking table. So JAS got their payback. Jericho was the one standing tall at the end. Again, good little match. I expect and I get intrigued with more captivating stories to start a show. You know, start a journey for us to embark on for the rest of the night. And BC, what do you mean by that? Well, give me something big that we can sink our teeth into that gives us a reason to put the remote down at the start of the show, and you keep going back to it throughout the night, right? That's what makes it a television show. So you're still going to get your pro wrestling matches. You'll get your bangers, but we have a story, a big story that we're following throughout the night, right? And if you do it correctly, you end it with a cliffhanger that keeps us needing, not just wanting, needing to tune in next week. You see what I'm saying? If you do pro wrestling correctly, you know, you make it an entertaining television show. And, you know, if you're just tuning in for bangers and matches, well, then watching an AEW Dynamite is going to be great for you. But the truth is, man, you're not going to grow anything at that point. I mean, that's just not pro wrestling. It's more than that. It's larger than life characters, storylines that you can sink your teeth into and that bring you to the edge of your seat, and the feuds that culminate in the biggest of moments. You know, that's what gets us excited, goosebumps. Yeah, it's just, you know, you just, for some reason, Tony Khan is insistent and persistent on just matches. Welcome everyone to AEW Dynamite. Ding, ding, ding. Matches on. And it's like, what do you get? You're not giving me a reason to put. I have to see Ricky Starks and Jericho. I have to see Bryan Danielson last week kick off the show with whoever the fuck he kicked it off. I don't know. It's somewhere in my notes from last week. Everybody, we don't have, like, we have 2 hours to get to wrestling matches. Let's start with a really big storyline, something big promo-wise. Something's happening in the parking lot. Maybe somebody's in the supermarket. Maybe it's Booker T again. Who knows? You guys know what I'm talking about. But, you know, start off with something fucking awesome. I mean, even H is trying that a little bit more over on Raw, you know, with the chaos, you know, and fucking Bloodline is destroying everybody as we start the show. They even cut through the signature. You know, just start with a little bit more of a pulse. You know, you don't always have to just start with a match. We could do better. We can get more exciting. And then you go right into Jericho and Starks. No harm, no foul. You just spend 5-10 minutes, set something up, go right into the match. It's really odd. Different strokes for different. No, basically, I like when they start right off with a match. It shows they're not bullshitting and Tony Khan's ready to rock. Okay. great if you just want to watch fucking dudes in their underwear fucking do moves and sequences on each other. Pro wrestling is more than that, bro. It's not fucking intriguing to the majority of an audience. Nobody's fucking starting AEW. Go, oh shit, Jenny, get in here, man. It's Jericho Starks. Fuck, dude, I can't even believe this is happening. Who do I gotta call? Timmy, get Timmy on the phone. Hurry up. It's Jericho and Starks. He needs to know this. Timmy, Jericho Starks is on right now. They're not. Tony Khan's not bullshitting. He means business tonight. They're starting with Starks Jericho. I know. I can't function right now, Timmy. I can't even think of this, man. I gotta watch this. Timmy, I have to watch it. It's gonna be a banger, Timmy. A banger. You know what I mean? I mean, we make fun of it, but it's like, come on, man. After all this time, 4 years, you know, your ratings have not budged. You know, maybe just more energy at the start of your show, man. It's as important as the end of your show, nearly. It really is, the start of the show. So I don't mind the match. I just, you know, bump it to the Q2 seg. Let's have Q1 really initiate a blast from the jump. Anyway, they kind of flipped it, right? Now, I think this next segment would have been cool for the start. And this was a face-to-face, Monx and Hangman Page. Monx was rocking a kick-ass promo, as he always does, but the crowd starts chanting, "We can't hear you. We can't hear." And BC's like, I can hear him just fine. So I don't know how you guys felt watching it back at home, but BC heard every word he was saying just fine. But for some reason, Seattle, the arena, could not hear Monx. So Monx grabs another mic, and there happens to be even more technical issues. Now, at this point, Monx literally says, "What the fuck?" Guys, he literally, TBS tried to bleep it out or even like cut out for a second, but it was too late. Poor Monx, man. Monx is so good. He's so professional. He's a good wrestler. He's good on the mic. Just good every which way. He's believable as a character, realistic in every realm. And so when something like this happens, man, you know, he's just like, I felt so bad. He looked like basically to the hard cam, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm trying to do my part here, man. The least you can do is help me out. So he grabs another fucking mic after he's pissed off at this point. TBS cut out for a few seconds. I don't know if they were pissed off that he said what the fuck, or there was just a bunch of technical issues at that point. I don't know, but everything went off the rails for a few seconds. Monx understands. So Monx now at this point says, "Does this shit work now?" And the crowd is like, "Yeah," because they can hear him. So he says, "Go Seahawks," just to like get the crowd back into it. And then he says, "Let's get this thing back on track." Jesus Christ. He was pissed, man, and I don't blame him. But no matter how pissed he was, he rebounded like the pro that he is, man, and he went right back into his promo, and he lit Hangman up, man. Hangman had a good little rebuttal, but I'm so proud of Monx and how he handled that situation. Maybe could have done without the F-bombs live on fucking nationwide television, but it's Monx, man. That's why we love him. This all just set up the one-on-one for next week in LA, pending that Hangman is medically cleared. The big story here is that he just can't be cleared. In fact, even as of last night, Hangman said, "As of right now, I have not been cleared." But if they can clear that up, which we fully expect is going to happen, you're going to get that matchup. AEW tag title match is up next. Acclaimed versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Caster's rap drags Jeff's wife Karen for the second week in a row. And we know last week Karen got pissed off, man. Of course, that was also the ex-wife of Kurt Angle, current wife of Jeff Jarrett. So Max Caster is pretty much ripping all three of them at one. Took out Karen again last night. Caster's rap disses Dixie Carter, and he even ended the rap, and I quote, "You can never stop the rain," meaning their title reign. "You can never stop the rain. TNA stands for Total Nonstop Acclaimed." I thought that was one of his better raps, man. That was awesome. And they're usually always good anyway. But that was one badass ending, man. Jarrett and Lethal end up pinning Bowens, man. I think it was Jarrett pinned Bowens thanks to some illegal shenanigans. Sanjay pushes Bowens' foot off the rope, and there ends up being a pinfall. New AEW Tag Team Champions, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Not so fast, though. The entire referee association, every referee imaginable, whether it's pro wrestling, NFL, NBA, umpires from Major League Baseball, everybody came to the ring. It was hilarious. And Aubrey Edwards says, no, there were shenanigans. Restart the match. And Dasha. I still call her Dasha Fuentes. I think they changed her name a little bit. Fuentes is... she's so over animated. We love the girl. She's such a sweetheart, man. And she's actually good. She's got a good voice for this. Way better than like Backstage Interviewer, by the way, which she also still does once in a while. But way too animated. She looks right at the camera. She goes, "This match will continue." And then she's like she's in a pageant. Smiling and shit, man. I miss the old Howard Finkel days. If you guys remember old school WWF. This match will continue. And it was business as usual. He was like fucking just stern. He'd walk to his... Howard Finkel would power walk to his seat and wait for the next decision, you know. Fuentes is like in a fucking... I know. Basically, it's not Dasha Fuentes anymore, man. Whatever they're calling her, man. I don't fucking... Seriously? Do you know how much fucking wrestling we consume in a fucking... Like, I care about these fucking ring announcers anymore. Mad props to Justin Roberts, though. I don't know how the fuck you get rid of him. WWE. Even Schimmel, man. Schimmel would fuck up all the time. Rated R. Superstar. That was Tony Schimmel. What the fuck am I even talking about? Oh, yeah. That was just to... We'll continue. I'm like, what is she doing? Sit down. You don't even got to have the camera on her. So anyway, we restart the match. Sweetheart, by the way, man. You know, she's good. She's good. Just a little less of the fucking like you're so happy it's restarting. I don't understand it. But moments later, and I do mean moments, maybe 20, 30 seconds tops, Bowens rolls Lethal up and Acclaim to retain the championship. So I like the backstage interview they did. Jeff Jarrett, man, it just brought me back to 80s wrestling when the wrestler, the heel, who ended up cheating originally, but they got caught or it just didn't work in their favor. So they're backstage with, back then it would be Mean Gene Okerlund, and they're just irate. I mean, they're pacing back and forth. They are pissed. Jeff Jarrett, since he's gotten AEW, and I know he's not going to get any love because it's Jeff Jarrett, and it's AEW, and it's kind of against what AEW even stands for to have him wrestling on their show. I get it. But he's actually been doing some of the best work of his career, guys, in the short run that he's had in AEW. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of good pro wrestling-wise in Jeff Jarrett. I mean, just that backstage promo afterward, I mean, he's pacing as if he's the Macho Man Randy Savage or something. He's pissed off. He's telling whoever was interviewing him, like, hurry up, get to the question. He's like, it took you the whole freaking referee army out there just to beat us. I love it. Jarrett was great, man. Poor Lethal was like, I ain't even going to say anything. I'm just going to let Jeff take care of this. So, guys, I actually don't... you might be surprised. I don't mind this finish. This is an old school pro wrestling finish that we don't see enough. Where a referee doesn't see something, calls for the bell, a big moment too, a big... something big might be on the line like a championship, and the referee botched. And then another referee comes down... And they're talking, and the crowd's like, yeah, listen to him, you know, and they reverse the decision, or they restart the match. I don't think we see enough of this. I love when the referees get involved in that way. You know, they shouldn't be the star of the show, but when their role is called upon in a big way, you know, you utilize that correctly, and it's fun. I mean, that was a fun finish. It's something you don't see a lot. And we have to get away from this narrative of clean winner and clear-cut loser every match. You know, we have to stop thinking of pro wrestling like it's a real sport. I know that pains you to hear that, especially on an AEW review, where we're supposed to call it more sport, less entertainment. But the truth is, it's scripted. It's rehearsed. It's pre-planned, pre-thought out. It is not real combat. I will not use the F word, because it's so original. Pro wrestling is so original. It's the first of its kind. There's nothing like it in the world. So it cannot be the F word. But it's not real combat. It's not an actual sport. I believe they are athletes for the most part. Most of them anyway, for sure. And the shit they do is probably more athletic than a lot of the sports that you do watch. but it still is a television show first and foremost, guys. They're still performers on an entertainment show. There's no other way I can say it. You can call them wrestlers, you can call them sports entertainers, but if you just want wrestler A and wrestler B, whether there's a storyline or not, and you just want them in the ring so they can do cool moves and flips and dives and cool sequences, and at the end you go, that was a banger! Can't wait to see how many stars it got. Well, guys, that's why wrestling is on life support. I hate to tell you that. Wrestling is way more than that, dude. And so if you're pissed off at the finish because it was too hokey pokey and you didn't get clear cut winners, like you were watching an actual fucking combat that is not scripted, not rehearsed. If you're looking for that, maybe you want to go to like UFC, you know, maybe boxing, you know, actual mixed martial arts, you know. If you're looking for like two people really going at it and seeing who's going to win actually, you know, I don't think pro wrestling is for you, because that's not what this is. You know, yeah, we want to give the illusion, but it's a lot more show and entertainment, dude. These type of finishes is what got people like BC hooked on wrestling, and a lot of you guys too. You may forgot about it, but these are the finishes that this is what pro wrestling is based on. And the only way pro wrestling not just succeeds, but sticks around for the next 10, 20, 50 years plus is if we keep having this type of stuff. I don't mind that at all, and I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. That tag team match and the way it all unfolded. Backstage to end hour number 1, Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter cut a promo directed at Saraya and whoever her mystery tag partner is for next week's Dynamite. What caught BC is Baker taking... Baker is, or telling, I should say, not taking Saraya, but telling Saraya that she's the boss. She literally said those words, man. And BC was like, oh, there's another hint, man. All I was thinking at that point was, Tony Khan better have Mercedes Moné. Because if he doesn't, and Baker just said that, bro, you're digging your own fucking hole. And eventually you're just going to have to throw yourself in there, bro. Because that's going to be your best option. Throw yourself in your own hole. Otherwise, people, your own fan base is coming at you with fucking pitchforks because you did not produce Moné. Isn't it ironic if Tony Khan cannot produce Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné? Isn't it ironic that the one thing for Tony Khan, anyway, it's ironic, the one thing money can't buy was Moné. Fucking ironic, man. And the reason, right when you heard Baker say, I'm the boss, that was I mean, what more proof did you need? I think everyone thought she's definitely showing up next Wednesday. But then you hear Renee Paquette did another backstage interview a few segments later with Saraya. And Saraya actually chose her partner. And now everybody's kind of like, what is happening? We'll talk about that in a couple. You know what? Let's stick with it now. This was after a couple of matches, an hour or two, but since we're already talking about it, I'll go right to it. Backstage, Saraya is seated next to Toni Storm and Shida, while Renee Paquette asks her who she will choose as her mystery partner for next week against Baker and Hayter in LA. Saraya chooses Toni Storm right in front of Shida, and Shida doesn't look too fucking pleased about that. Shida's like, what the fuck, bitch? And that was the segment. And literally, then they started talking as if Shida wasn't even there. Like Saraya started, she's like, I have a plan, so this is what we're going to do. And Shida's like, the third wheel, you know? You go to the fucking carnival, and you got the fucking, the dating couple over here, and you're the third wheel, and you're like, oh, I'll just see myself to the fucking Ferris wheel. She's the third wheel. So this leads a lot of people to believe, okay, no, this can't be true, man. There's no way all of this was just for Saraya to announce Toni Storm. Now everybody is starting to think the same thing, right? Everybody immediately jumped to the same conclusion, right? Shida is most likely going to take out Toni Storm, and this will leave the door open for a true surprise mystery partner. Some people think it's just going to be Shida taking the place of Toni after she attacks her. So it's going to be one of those storylines like somebody attacked Toni, but we don't know who it is, and Shida's going to play the role of like, I'll take her place. I think Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai did that not too long ago. Yeah, maybe it was long ago, back in the black and gold days, NXT. Maybe it was like a War Games or something. I forget. But Tegan was taken out. Dakota took her place and ended up being Dakota taking her out. Something like that. But we've seen something like that like a bunch of times in pro wrestling. And it works. You know, and then you find out later it was Shida and Tony's fucking pissed. But if it's Shida, that's a mega letdown. And I like Shida, by the way. I know a lot of you guys do. But you hype this up so much. It can't just be Shida taking out Tony and that's it. It also can't just be Tony, can it? Like, is Toni Storm really going to be just the mystery? Or does Shida take her out? Shida thinks it's going to be her, and then it's not, and it's actually Thunder Rosa who returns. Some people think it's going to be Thunder. Some people think it might be like a Statlander or some shit, but something Tony Khan doesn't even have a plan. And other people, a lot of people, maybe most people, still believe it's going to be Mercedes Moné. And Tony Khan, man, he better hope that he landed Moné. Because Tony Khan is in a world of shit if he did not. There is no way they're going to accept anybody else. At this point, you got to believe this is a Moné or bust situation for Tony Khan. There's nothing he can do now, man. I mean, you have teased it so long, or at least did not debunk it for so long. You played along with all of the buzz. Baker even alluded to being the boss last night, and then all of a sudden you're not going to produce Moné? Ooh, bro. That is one day you do not want to be Tony Khan if that is the case. You know what you could have saw last night, and this is what I said in the live stream before Dynamite. I said if Tony Khan has not produced or cannot produce Moné, Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, if he cannot produce her and all of this buzz and all this teasing has gotten this far, he needs to immediately tonight, meaning last night, he needs to debunk this or come up with something. And it's almost like he did that. By saying that it's Toni Storm and just announcing it, you're kind of jumping off the boat before it sinks, right? You're kind of saving yourself a little. Because now, yeah, Tony can get jumped by Shida, or Tony could wrestle, or Thunder Rosa could be the mystery partner, and Tony Khan can say, I don't know why you were disappointed. It was going to be Toni Storm anyway, and you got Thunder Rosa. Shouldn't you be happy? I mean, you guys thought it was going to be Moné. I didn't say that. We said it was going to be Tony. It's almost like he's protecting his own ass. And I said he needed to do that yesterday, and he did that last night. So, but is it too late? I mean, there is still, even when they announced Toni Storm, people are still thinking it is Mercedes or bust. It's Moné or bust. It is Sasha Banks or bust. And that is not a good position to be in if you're a promoter. If everybody thinks one thing and you don't deliver. That's like the CM Punk thing. When that got out of the bag and he was like, well, at this point, man, it's, yeah, of course it's CM Punk. Could you imagine if it's anybody else in Chicago? We've been bumping this up. The buzz was there. We never debunked it. We played along with the teases. And we didn't produce Punk. This is one of those deals where it might have gotten away from him. On the other hand, does he produce Mercedes Moné while she... Guys, this is trippy. Mercedes is actually a part of the New Japan, like their roster, but she's also on WWE's official legal roster page as of the recording of this anyway, and I'll be checking it throughout the day. So... I mean, something is still going on contractually with WWE, and it's almost like it's not almost. They are allowing her to do New Japan somehow, but I don't think they would allow her to do AEW. But if she shows up to AEW and she's on the WWE roster page, the Japan roster page, and she's wrestling in AEW, then Mercedes has pulled off the roost of a lifetime. She has done what no other wrestler is even capable of. She is on every fucking buddy's roster, and I don't know how that's even possible. I am fucking goosebumps thinking about it. So it's up in the air. We don't know if he was able to land Moné or not, but this could be a situation where now he is trying to protect his own ass, and there's a good chance. There's a very good chance that Wednesday in Los Angeles, when the show goes off the air, Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, does not show up in AEW, and I think that crowd is going to be like, fuck no. Bullshit. And by then, I think Tony Khan will already be long gone from that arena. Remains to be seen. Hour number 2 kicked off with Bryan Danielson and Tony Nese. Or no, Bryan Danielson versus Tony Nese, I should say. Danielson squashes Nese. Taz was funny. Dude says, good battle between two really good wrestlers. BC was like, brah, it was a 3-minute ass whooping. What are you talking about? Post-match, B-Dan. That's right. Yeah. D-Bry. That's B-Dan. No, I'm gonna keep calling it that. But B-Dan. B-Dan calls out MJF. MJF says, brain damaged Brian. See, B-Dan is better than that, bro. MJF is calling him brain damaged Brian, dude. It's a little fucked. He says, and I quote, you want me to wrestle you right now? How about no? MJF says, Lance, if Lance Storm, and this is an actual quote by MJF, if Lance Storm and Dean Malenko were able to procreate, it would somehow come out more charismatic than you. You did not, dude. Lance Storm took it like a champ, though, man. Later on social, he says, well, if what did he say? He said if me and Dean Malenko did procreate, it would come out much more like a wrestler like Bryan Danielson. I'd have to procreate with The Miz to get somebody like an MJF. So Lance Storm played along pretty good on social. He took it like a champ. Of course, MJF was not going to let him get the last word. So he says, you have to have sex to have a kid, Lance. Too funny. Actually, Lance got the last word because then Lance went back and he says, actually, no, you don't. Thanks through IVF or some shit. You don't have to have sex to have a kid. So there's still a chance you can get a Father's Day card, Max. So Lance and MJF, that was a funny back and forth, man. So that was a pretty funny line, though. If Lance Storm and Dean Malenko were able to procreate, it would somehow come out more charismatic than you. He then says the only reason you may actually be the GOAT is because you literally look like a goat. He says, I'm the greatest thanks to people that matter, not these people that call themselves journalists, but they don't know a damn thing. No, but guys that are putting me over like Disco Inferno, Eric Bischoff, and my number one fan, Jim Cornette. Dude, guy was on fire last night like he always is. Too funny. Of course, those are 3 dudes that are very critical of AEW. I was waiting for the dude to say in BC Amplified. Man. Too funny, man. So, we get back on track here. He says, this is a quote, I spoke to that nerd backstage, Tony Khan, and he said if you win every one of your matches from now until February 8th, you will be number 1 contender. Brian says, I'll agree if you agree to let me choose the stipulation, shall we fight? MJF agrees, and Danielson chooses a 1-hour Iron Man match for Revolution. Max is trying to get in better shape, too. He's got a movie that he's doing, man. Is that the Von Erich movie? He's doing this movie. He's trying to get in better shape, you know. He's a big fan of BC Amplified. So I think he knows, he sees BC hitting the gym and fucking rocking the delts. And he's like, you know what? Well, fuck. I got to get my shit going. So Max wants to show everyone that the cardio is there, too. So we're going to get an Iron Man match. I don't know if that's a match. I mean, I'm a big, but you guys know how big of a supporter, a backer I am of MJF. I just think he's, the ideal professional wrestler. He doesn't need to do flips and dives or any of that shit, man. He checks off every box. I don't know if I ever needed to see him in an Iron Man match. So this is going to be weird. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how good it's going to be, but Bryan Danielson is in there, so I don't know. I don't know if this is exactly what we need to see Max in. It's gonna be odd for BC. Somebody who I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about that. Not exactly what I was expecting, but this promo seg, man, straight fire, and I'm not surprised at all. Swerve then defeats AR Fox. There's nothing to talk about. It's a pointless match. Backstage, Saraya is seated. Oh, no, I already went over that, man. This is where Saraya says that Toni Storm will be her partner. Sheeta doesn't look pleased, and fans are saying, bullshit, it's got to be Mercedes, or Tony Khan, you better keep running. The Gun Club are out next in the ring, giving a eulogy for FTR's career. That's fitting, actually. They declare FTR can work for any promotion in the world, but they will never work in AEW ever again. Okay, how do I tackle this? Well, first and foremost, I don't think that's that big of a fucking deal because they have not worked in AEW anyway, it seems. At least not in Dynamite, bro. They're over holding AAA titles, they're holding IWGP titles, they're holding ROH titles. In AEW, they can barely get on Dynamite. When they are, they're losing, or they're in singles competition, or 10-man tags, 8-man tags, 6-man tags, 86-man tags, who the fuck knows? So, I mean, saying that they'll never work in AEW again, I mean, fans are not even going to notice. Sadly, they should be one of the best tag teams in the world, because they are, and they put out bangers throughout the year, but their booking has been shit. And lately, they're just on a losing streak from fucking hell. They lost all their titles, by the way. They're no longer the AAA. They're no longer the ROH. They're no longer the IWGP. That was all within a month. They lost against the Acclaim. They lost against the Gun Club. I mean, if the story here is for them to hit rock bottom and then they start winning all their matches in 2023, well, guys, we're not going to just forget that they can easily lose 86 matches in a row and go on such a slump. Badass individuals or teams do not go on slumps like that. That's not good. So, I mean, if whoever's idea it is to hit rock bottom and lose all our matches so it doesn't look like we win all our matches, and then we'll start winning our matches, whoever's idea this is horrible booking. The only thing that we're coming to think of now is, are they going to WWE soon? A lot of people think that in April that is indeed what they're going to do, and they're going to go back to work for Paul 3H's Levesque. But I don't know. I mean, with Tony Khan, I was going to say, would Tony Khan just lose them so easily? I don't think Tony Khan gives a fuck. If he gave a fuck about FTR, they would be massive on Dynamite. And when they had the momentum, he would have catapulted them through the stratosphere. Instead, he internally sabotaged them. I can't believe the booking of FTR. It is one of the sad stories in 2022 and now going into 2023. It's one of the saddest stories in pro wrestling of people, individuals, wrestlers that should have been massive, and their own promoter fucking suppressed them. Put the lid on the fucking pot of boiling water, and that shit was boiling. It was on fire, ready to boil over, and he put the lid on that shit, just like he did to Wardlow. In fact, we're gonna get to that in a fucking minute. Before I get to that main event, Blue Sky and Kiera Hogan took on Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. Red Velvet has enough of Jade's bullying and abuse and leaves Cargill to fend for herself, finally. However, it's Jade Cargill, so that ain't no thing, man. That's no thing. Jade's like, all right, it was basically handicap anyway. Moments later, Cargill punts Hogan's dome piece off with that badass bicycle kick. 1, 2, 3. Cargill takes the W. Literally takes the W. She ain't happy with Velvet, by the way. Just like I said, Tony Khan needs to run far away if he cannot produce Moné next Wednesday. Well, I think Velvet should be running right alongside Tony because you got a pissed off Cargill now to deal with. Main event, Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe. Darby Allin defeats Samoa Joe for the TNT title. Wait, what the fuck did we just witness? I understand it's his hometown of Seattle, but Wardlow lost to Joe so Darby could beat Joe a week later. Oh, priorities to Tony Khan. Wardlow, we can book him mid and even below. But Darby, let's give him the title. After you've already fucking 4 times I can count Darby should have been fucking pushed properly. And 4 times Tony Khan made it a point to derail Darby's momentum. And now out of nowhere, I mean, he got that pop. It's Seattle. That's his home fucking town, guys. Home city. But for the large in part, man, the wrestling world, Darby has kind of once again fallen to the wayside. That's pretty fucking evident. And he comes out of nowhere to defeat Joe. What the fuck did you just do to Wardlow? Wardlow couldn't beat Joe last week. In fact, after the match, you made Wardlow look at Joe like he was respecting Joe and he was going to shake his hand. He gave him a nod. He looked over. He was all injured. Wardlow was injured. You know, he got attacked with the steel pipe earlier and he's injured, but he looks at Joe and he's like, man, you got me. And I'm like, this is supposed to be a beast. This guy took you out with a steel pipe and you're looking at him like you respect him and you're going to shake his hand. Joe looked at Wardlow like, what a pathetic bum, and he attacked Wardlow again after the match. So he beat Wardlow, then he beat the shit out of him post-match, and then he took his hair and he just cut it just to embarrass the fucker. You made Wardlow look like a joke, and some fans are going to be like, now it's going to be a reset. We're going to reset Wardlow. Why did you need to... what the fuck? Wardlow was on top of the world after the MJF thing. You didn't need to reset it. You just need to give him the rocket. Let him go. No, you sabotaged the motherfucker every which way to the point where now you got to cut his hair and do a reset? What the fuck are you talking about? You took away any monster in him, so now he's going to come back as a regular human being now. I have feelings and I'm sensitive and I'm going to get my titles. What? What did you do to Wardlow? You fucked this guy up yet again. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Nobody can spin this, man. You'll be surprised how many people are trying to... basically, here's the thing, and they leave you a paragraph. The thing with Wardlow is as follows. Tony knows what he's doing, Beasley. No, he really doesn't. He literally doesn't. Like, I can give you fucking eight pages of how this dude fucked up just Wardlow alone, let alone fucking 12 other individuals. Top of my dome piece. Wardlow loses. 1 week later, little Darby Allin takes out Samoa Joe and takes his championship. Not even realistic, by the way. Literally the entire match, Samoa Joe was working on the lower half of fucking Darby, beating the shit, taking out the fucking knee. The top of the ladder that Darby did at the beginning of the match, jumps off the fucking top of the ladder on top of the stage, and just wipes out his knee, basically. And then Samoa Joe plays along the whole match. And then at the end of the match, Darby Allin is like fucking doing cartwheels and bouncing around like he's a Backstreet Boy and flipping and diving, not even selling the shit. How's that realistic, bro? Joe, this is funny. Where's all the people after last week that said, no, basically, don't look at it like Wardlow was ruined. Look at how they're building Joe. Joe is being built up beautifully. They said at least they're building up Joe, BC, last week. Where are all those people? Is that what they did last night? When he lost his fucking TNT title on a Dynamite to fucking Darby? You know what's sad? Is that they were actually starting to build Joe up. They were starting to, and then there's Tony Khan. Just erratic booking. It's Seattle! Let's have a title change. Let's get some type of a pop from the crowd. Not thinking long term. And somebody will say, no, don't worry, basically. Samoa now is going to concentrate on ROH and be the beast. And this is what AEW needs. Darby. I think it could set up maybe Darby and Swerve, basically. Well, fuck. Let me call Timmy and Jerry, and we could talk about the banger we're going to get with Darby and Swerve. You know damn well. Stop fucking typing for a second. Stop typing. Listen to what I'm about to say. You know damn well that was a botched booking decision last night. You know it. And if you don't know it, this is not the channel for you. This is not about, I disagree. No, that's preference. That's what you like and what you don't like. Right and wrong, after what Joe did to Wardlow last week, Darby beating him after no selling his leg injuries. No. Wardlow couldn't fucking do it last week. Darby came up like Super Cena. No. Everybody looks like a fucking idiot here. I don't understand it, but I kinda do. It's Tony Khan in a nutshell. The show, from top to bottom, was actually not bad. Stretched to call it good. A decent show. You may have loved it. Some of you may have hated it. It was a decent show. Hard pressed to call it good. Definitely wasn't bad. The ending was miserably botched. And that's where we leave it. LA's their big show. This upcoming Wednesday is the big boy. Whatever happens this Wednesday, I truly believe is going to set the trajectory for the rest of the year for AEW. It'll be interesting to see what they pulled in the ratings. Again, I don't think this show was good enough to hit 1 million, but you never know. I mean, lately the rings have been a little bit erratic. I don't think it was enough to pull 1 mil. I think it was good enough to get back into the 900Ks. 900 somewhere, maybe around 940, 960. But But if it did, if he was able to hit a mill, I mean, you run with that shit. In case it's a mistake, don't look back. Take that shit into LA if you're Tony Khan. And he better also pull into LA with a lot of money. That's all I'm going to say. I'm BC. Top guy, I'm out. To my amplified unit, we will rock out maybe another impromptu tomorrow and definitely SmackDown over the weekend. So a lot more content is still to come this week. So I'm going to do a roll call for my amp unit gold card status members, by the way. But if you came just for the my thoughts on AEW Dynamite, my thoughts on this whole Sasha Banks Mercedes showing up to AEW, that's my thoughts on it, guys. Anyone saying she's already signed with AEW, we're not hearing that at all. That's absolute bullshit. That's all speculation. But that's my thoughts on it, man. So we'll shoot this shit again several times more coming up this week. Make sure you stay subscribed, notified. Top guy, I am out. BC saying check you. If you want to stick around for the roll call, buckle up because there's a lot, bro. There's a lot now. We are rocking out. And to my gold card members, they are as follows. This is my gold unit, man. My gold card members: Jack Brewer, Godswilla, Ash Sims, JR9 Gaming, Carlos Ray, Jacqueline Robinson, Radar Rab TTV, Sir Charles, Sadiqua Flowers, Anthony Bowley, Ray Foreman, Movies 456, Clutch City Fan, Kim T, Jimmy J 145, Kevin M.D., Crimson Blue 82, formerly known as Archmadeus, Dante Jaron 23, Unique Butterfly, A. Merrick, James Miller, Sterling Range, Dev Owl, Eric Leno, D. Carre. Get back. Don't jump the list there. I got it. Where did I lead off? Eric Leno and D. Carre. Yes, Soldier Man 1984. I just wanted to jump over to Lord French Fries. One of my tried and trues. Soldier Man 1984. Lord French Fries. Mayhem. Cy Parker. CJ White. PB Silipride. Deontay Thomas. Terrence Burrs. Willard Bayless. Sam Byers. Dave Mealy. Jane Donnelly. Ashley Steggles. Richard Wade. Demonte Mabry. DJ is a prodigy. Alicia Vukovic. Batty Banks. Trina Scott. Christopher Blackshare. Patrick Charles. Thurston Pachalek. Pimp Jesus. Richie P. Janelle Layton. Raymond Saran, Kevin Johnston Sabres, News Consolidated, Nessie Sunflower, Discovery Metal Legion, Osio Weidman, Dino, Santivia Major, Jared Kelly, Winbrook 11, James Shrimp Fajitas, keep rockin'. G, a.k.a. True Life Da God, WWE, AEW, Marvel fan, K. Doherty, Christopher Blackshare, Renee G, Easy Does It, Network Guy Dave, Sheriff Rivers, D Stands Alone, Xavier 2882, Eric Decker, J, Dwayne Piazza, Quentin Gilbert, Cosmic Fool, Pile Driver Finisher, Savage 1024 The Punisher, Limitation X, Big Nang, Redhead Kingpin, John Gray. All my amp unit gold card members. Gold team, go! And any new members, man, you'll be tacked on later on the list as it becomes available. Anybody that was not mentioned, obviously, this was filmed beforehand before you actually made the list. So, join button should be down below if you want to join up. Super thanks is somewhere down below as well. You guys got to find all that shit, but whatever you do, make sure you find that up for sure. Smash that shit. Show that love and respect. And we'll do this all again tomorrow. Whatever the big topics are, this is the channel to be at. BC's the person to listen to. Discuss it all. Okay, for real. Top guy, now I'm out. BC saying check you.